Hello, and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with the Diary of Anne Frank. Chapter 5, The Eighth Person. October 14th, 1942. Dear Kitty, Mother Margot and I are best friends once again, and this is much better. Last night, Margot and I were lying in bed side by side. It was terribly cramped. That's what made it fun. Margot asked me if she could read my diary occasionally. Parts of it, I replied, and asked about her. She allowed me to read her diary as well. We spoke about the future. When I asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up, she wouldn't speak. In fact, she was rather mysterious about it. I guess it had something to do with teaching, but I can't be sure. But I shouldn't be so nosy. Once I asked Margot if she thought I was ugly. She replied saying I was cute and had nice eyes. It was a little vague, don't you think? I'm really worried as Father's sick. He's running a high temperature and is covered with spots. It looks like measles, and just imagine we couldn't call a doctor. Mother's trying to make him sweat so that the fever goes out. Father insists on me reading famous German writers like Hebel and others. He's brought down the plays of Goethe and Schiller from the bookcase and tends to read to me every evening. We began with Don Carlos, and encouraged by Father, Mother has passed on her prayer book to me. To be polite, I read a few prayers in German. Although they do sound beautiful, they don't mean much to me. Why is she intent to make me so religious? Tomorrow we shall light the stove for the first time. The chimney hasn't been swept in years. I'm sure that the room will be full of smoke. Here's hoping the thing draws. Yours, Anne. November 9, 1942. Dear Kitty, the British have finally met with success in Africa, although Stalingrad hasn't fallen yet. The men are happy, and we had coffee and tea this morning. Nothing else to report other than that. Mother and I are getting along better, but never close. Although Father is not very expressive about his feelings, he's still the same dear old sweetheart. We lit the stove a few days ago, and the room was full of smoke. Personally, I prefer central heating like many others. Margot's a stinker, no other word describes her better, a perpetual irritation, morning, noon, and night. Yesterday was Peter's 16th birthday, and I gave him Monopoly, a razor, and a cigarette lighter as presents. It's not that he smokes so much. In fact, it looks so distinguished. Mr. Von Dantz surprised us all by declaring that the English had landed in Tunis, Algiers, Oran, and Casablanca. This is the beginning of the end, everyone said. But here's what Churchill, the British Prime Minister, who must have heard the same thing repeated, had to say. This is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but perhaps the end of the beginning. Can you see the difference? But there is reason to be optimistic as Stalingrad, the Russian city under attack for 3 months, still hasn't fallen into German hands. Almost forgot to mention that Father's recovered from his illness. The radio has just announced the fall of Algiers. England has taken over Morocco or Iran and Casablanca for several days. We are waiting for Tunis now. We are also awaiting the arrival of an eighth person to our group in hiding. That's great news. We always believed that there was room for one more person, but did not wish to burden Mr. Kugler, Mr. Climate further. But as reports of atrocities against the Jews were on the rise, Father decided to speak to the two gentlemen, and they thought it was an excellent plan. It's equally dangerous whether there are 7 or 8, they observed lightly. And we sat down to choose the one person who would join our group. After Father had rejected all the Von Don relatives, we froze on a dentist named Alfred Dussell. He is quiet and refined and appears to be nice. Meat knows him well. Mr. Dussell arrives. We'll have 2 to sleep in my room instead of Margot, who will use the folding bed. We must ask him to bring along something to fill cavities with, though. Yours, Anne. November 17th, 1942. Dear Kitty, Meep arrived this morning to tell us that she had met Mr. Dussell. He asked Meep if she knew a hiding place and was thrilled when she said yes. Mr. Dussell's arrival was smooth. He was instructed by Meep to stand at 11 a.m. sharp in front of the post office. Mr. Kleeman went to meet Mr. Dussell. Then Mr. Kleeman took a streetcar back to the office, while Dussell followed on foot. Meep escorted Mr. Dussell upstairs. As she opened the house and stepped inside, Mr. Dussell gaped in amazement. Meanwhile, the 7 of us had seated ourselves around the dining room to welcome the new arrival with coffee and cognac. Mr. Dussell was so astonished that he sank in the chair when he was led upstairs. He looked at us in dumbstruck silence. But you are Nick in Belgium? The officer, the auto, they're not coming? Your escape was not working? He mumbled. Everything was explained to him, including how we had spread the rumor about the officer and the car to throw the Germans off track. He was speechless. Then we had to lunch together. We took a short nap after that and joined us for tea. Eventually started feeling at home. Mr. Dussell is a nice man and didn't want to share a room with me at all. Honestly, I was not pleased by all the thought of sharing my room with a stranger, but then one must make sacrifices for a larger cause. On the first day, Mr. Dussell asked me all sorts of questions, like what time the cleaning lady arrived in the office, how we used the washroom, and the time we were supposed to go to the toilet. He had spoken about it on the outside world. It is mostly sad news of our friends and acquaintances being taken away in green and gray military vehicles. These cruise the street, knocking on every door and inquiring if any Jews live there. The entire family is taken away upon being discovered, and it's impossible to escape them unless one goes into hiding. When it's dark, I often see long lines of innocent people marching slowly. Crying children accompany them. The party is ordered by a few men who beat and bully them till they almost drop. None are spared, including the sick, old, and babies, and pregnant women as they are all marched to their death. We're lucky to be safe here. I got frightened to death when I think that my close friends are at the mercy of the cruelest monsters ever to walk the earth, and just because they're Jews. Yours, Anne. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.